Okay. So let's come to your converting story, brother. Before you became a Muslim, what was your knowledge about Islam and Muslims, and how you became a Muslim? Story or converting Muslim, but this side, how much you make it long will be okay, because this is the main point of the interview. So try to express more and more. Okay.
I'd say probably going to Sunday school, we talked about different religions. So I never really heard too much about Islam, except my mother said, you know, Islam's a religion that was spread by the sword, and kind of people became Muslim because they had a choice, either convert or die. But besides that, I had a pretty neutral, I didn't dislike Islam, or I didn't know any Muslims. I just saw growing up a lot of the stuff on TV about the problems in the Middle East, and some in the 1980s when I was a kid, it was pretty much the United States was having trouble with Shiite extremists. So that's my first real kind of education of Islam, but I didn't let that make me prejudiced. And then during the my time in the military, I met a couple Muslim people, and so I still had a positive experience. And what I'd always heard was that, like, when Osama bin Laden came around, he was an extremist, and so I remember I was in college during 9/11, and I kind of worried about some of my Muslim friends, so I ended up telling them if they ever were scared or if anybody gave them a hard time, just they could come talk to me. So I built a good relationship with some Muslim people, and they told me, you know, a lot of the problems in the United States is a bad kind of the media distorts Islam. And this one guy from Saudi Arabia told me that in Saudi Arabia it's a crime to curse God and to curse Jesus Christ. And he said, I hear a lot of Christians use bad language towards their own God and towards Jesus. And I thought about that, and I didn't know that, you know, even Jesus was a highly regarded prophet. So that was a really one of my first things where I started looking into Islam. I had bought a Quran and I read it a few times, and I'd say I've been baptized a couple times in different churches, so I looked around at different religions, but I had like I said, some problems with drinking and drugs over the years, and I'd always tried to do the right thing, but I get involved with the wrong people, or when I was doing the right thing, I'd be kind of depressed. So I started looking into Islam, and I talked to a couple people, and they gave me another Quran, and I actually came down to this masjid 2 years ago, and a guy talked to me about Islam, said, you know, if I become a Muslim, I'll have a very strong faith. And I looked at my life and where I wanted to go, and Islam seemed to have a lot of the answers that I was looking for.
You read the Quran, and how you became convert? I mean, how you said Shahada? When and in which position? Where?
Well, I was going to talk to my family, and first I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and she said she said she couldn't marry or go out with a Muslim, so I ended up converting without telling her. So I just felt like I had to, in my heart, I had to convert to Islam, or I was gonna go further down the wrong path. And I guess in my Christian life, we talk about like God talks to us. So it was like Allah was telling me, you know, this is a chance where, you know, I can repent for my life, and you know, if I convert, I can live a better life. And I didn't really know too much, but I just had that feeling that this is something that I have to do. And I came to the masjid and told one of my friends, I want to become a Muslim. And he said, well, do you know all the things, the 5 pillars? And he went over them again, and I said, yes, I know, I've read them, I need to do this now. So it was Juma, so I came in for the Juma, and it was a really good Juma. And it was like the guy who was leading the Juma was answering a lot of my questions. And so then after Juma, I ended up doing the Shahada. And in my mind, I was the only Caucasian European brother in there, so I felt like, are these people gonna like me and accept me? But like I said, I just felt like it was something I had to do. And afterwards, the whole everybody came up and gave me a hug and made me feel very welcome, and I felt like a peace came onto my heart. And I'd say it's been challenging to try to learn Islam as a way of life, like trying to, where, you know, as a Christian, we would pray anywhere, we'd talk to God anyway, we'd read the Bible. Some days we might read one translation, or we might read another, but you know, everything's so specific. We do 5 prayers, and it's very different from the life that I'm used to living.
You said that your friend said to Christ was just a prophet. Then you wander the Islam and you study. You said this. How long it takes to study? I mean, how long after then?
I studied 2 years.
Am I wrong? I didn't misunderstand the point, isn't it?
About the
like this. About your friend said on the telephone that the Muslims believe in Jesus.
Right.
Then you decided.
No,
how long it takes to?
Okay. That was in
maybe I couldn't understand.
2001 is when I first heard somebody say that the Muslims believe in Jesus too. So I didn't know that before. And so I thought about that for 2010s when I finally decided that I wanted to be a Muslim.
How long it takes to study Islam?
So then I studied for about almost I studied for a year before I did my Shahada. So I bought some books and I read on my own.
You bought the books. Did you bought Quran, and did you read Quran that time?
I read about a third of the Quran, and I bought a book about the kind of the basics of Islam that went over the 5 pillars, and I read some pamphlets too that people gave me here.
But how you know, it's speaking revelation, something revelation, because you are coming from some lives and some another religion you participate. How it was in that period to decide to go, and what you were feeling that time?
I'd say it was mostly some of the troubles that I was going through that forced me, and I looked at that my Christian faith didn't save me, and Islam made a lot more sense because I never believed in like the Catholics believe in the Trinity, and that didn't make any sense to me. And then the Christians, some of the Protestants believe that Jesus is God and you have to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior or you're going to hell. So that didn't make any sense to me. And I'd ask questions sometimes and people seemed to get kind of like they didn't have a good answer for those things. And my mom always taught me that there's one God, and then Jesus Christ was she didn't say he was God or anything. She said he was a holy person. So Islam kind of made a little bit more sense to me, and I felt I had to do something because I was going down the wrong path. And there's a lot of appealing things about Islam. No drinking, the 10 Commandments, basically the same. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. You're not living a material lifestyle. You're trying to think about what God wants you to do. And the Muslims that I knew were living a much more moral life than I met some very moral Christians, but I had tried it for myself and failed. So I saw a lot more appealing in Islam for me.
Mm-hmm. So after becoming a Muslim, all your opinion about Muslims and Islam has changed, I think.
100%. I found that everybody's kind of different. A lot of Muslims explained it to me. You have a lot of people from different parts of the Muslim world, so that they all have their culture, but everybody, the main thing is the Quran and the Sunnah, and that's what kind of unites the Muslims. But most of the brothers that I met are very kind and helpful, and that's been, because as they say, I'm a baby, I don't know anything, so I'm very dependent on people teaching me the right way. And I've pretty much stuck with just trying to learn the Al-Fatiha and learning a little bit about the Quran.
Brother, you can read Fatiha Sharif, huh? You remember it?
I have it memorized.
No, you didn't yet?
No, I have.
Okay. Is that possible to read? You look to the round, not to the camera. You look to the round and speak. Read it.
Okay.
You look down, not. First you say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim."
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa tabala kazmuka wa ta'ala jaduka billahi
La ilaha ghayruk.
billahi
La
wala ilaha gairuk a'udu billahi mina shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahman ar-rahim. Alhamdulillahir rabbi alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka nabudu wa iyaka nasta'in. Idina silatal idinas mustaqim. Silatal adina an'amta alamin. Gairul makdubi alamin. Wala dalin.
Okay, brother, thank you. MashaAllah. Good. MashaAllah. Yeah, after you became a Muslim, what was the reaction of your community? I mean, did you get a negative attitude from your friends, or did you get positive attitude from your around?
I've gotten a negative attitude from almost everybody. So I think it's one of the scholars came, an Islamic scholar came and gave a class on dawah, and he said right now there's a statistic that says 70% of Americans have a negative view of Islam because of the media. And I found that right before I became a Muslim and then afterwards, I started running into a lot of people that were saying a lot of negative things about Islam. So I felt at times I never told anybody that I was a Muslim because some people I do business with, so I wasn't in a position to lose the business. But I tried to say positive things about Islam and defend Muslims, or at least most of the things that they were saying just were not true. It was something that they'd read or a friend told them or they saw on TV. So I always tried to give a more positive view to my fellow Americans about my faith. But I just didn't feel like I was strong enough to tell people, you know, I'm a Muslim and my religion's a very beautiful religion and has changed my life. And that's why I'm studying with the Imam right now, so maybe I can help people to see Islam in a better light in this country.
So every day you are coming here to study Islam?
Yes.
What do you study? What do you do here? Because we don't know here.
So I try to make my 5 prayers a day. So I come to the mosque. One of the brothers said, go to the mosque at least once a day. So he told me that that's kind of, he gave that as like my goal right now, being a new Muslim, to come once a day. So I've learned how to do the wudu and then to say the prayer the best I can. And they said just one little piece at a time. Don't try to be too extreme, because a lot of new Muslims, after they do Shahada, they get really eager and then they get discouraged and they disappear. So I've just been trying to make this part of my life and make good relationships with some of the other brothers.
Brother, I think we forget your sports coach business.
Okay. When I got out of the military, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I had been divorced twice and didn't really want to sit behind a desk. And one of my best skills in the military was exercise. I had won some awards. So the exercise business was growing here in Los Angeles. So I got a job at one of the local gyms, and I always liked helping people. So the business in the gyms has a lot of haram in it, where you try to give people the highest price and then negotiate down. And I didn't like that. I like just, here, I'm going to give you this for this price. So I ended up going out and doing my own business. So I go to people's house, and most of the people I work with are probably 40 to 60 years old, professionals, and they don't know anything about exercise. So I have to teach them how to eat better and how to exercise correctly.
The martial arts, did you teaching them?
Some people I do teach martial arts. I've studied martial arts for about 10 years and a lot of different exercise styles.
No, I didn't understand. You said that 10 years you study
martial arts. Yes.
What did you study? You didn't?
I've studied Korean Hapkido. I have a black belt in Hapkido, and I've studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's more of like a wrestling, grappling martial art. And I've also studied Filipino martial arts, sticks and knives. So
you are very experienced for the martial arts. You said that 10 years you study. Where in LA?
LA is probably one of the best places to learn martial arts in the world. There's a few of the guys, masters, studied with Bruce Lee, and then some of the best Brazilian martial artists are here in Los Angeles, the Gracie brothers, and I think because of the movies too, Hollywood, a lot of martial arts schools are almost on every street corner.
No, but I asked that where did you learn? In those people?
Yes, here in Los Angeles.
Who was your master? Your master is the master of Bruce Lee? No.
One of my masters trained with Bruce Lee. His name's Danny Inosanto. He's kind of a famous guy. He does a seminar once a year, and people come from all around the world to train with him for 4 days. Then there's another master that I studied with. He's a Korean master named Master Kwan. His partner was in some movies. And then the Machado brothers, I've studied with them, and they trained Chuck Norris, who's kind of a famous martial artist. He had a TV show, Texas Ranger.
Your masters were something famous. I mean, important people.
So yeah, some of them have. Most people, probably some people in Turkey, would know some of the names that are, if they're into martial arts.
Yeah, well, we know only usually for Bruce Lee.
Right.
Chuck Norris also is some of the movies he's making some martial arts. I don't know with the style. What's his style?
He did Tong Sudo, which is a Korean form of karate, and then he started learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So Chuck Norris has a really good kicking martial art, but he also studied grappling too.
Your master was his teacher, or?
Yes, the Brazilian brothers, they call them the Machado brothers. They trained Chuck Norris and were on one of his TV shows.
Also you learned from this man, huh?
Yes.
So you said red belt from one of them, or?
Yeah, I
Excuse me, not red, black belt?
black belt.
3 of them you have black belt, or only one?
I have one black belt and a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So black belts in Korean Hapkido. And nowadays it's very kind of, it sounds like, oh wow, that's a lot, but there's mixed martial arts is very common, so people like to cross-train and learn weapons. They like to learn kicking and punching, and also like grappling and judo style.